Hi, my name's Brody Moore, also known as Liefx, and I wanted to bring back my podcast, but I figured I needed to restructure it and change it with all the things I've learned throughout the years, and the format I had before on the Rocket League Dojo just didn't quite fit where everything had moved to in the scene. So while trying to figure out what the podcast should be, I decided there's no better way to figure out than just to start doing it. And I decided I just want to sit down, press record, and have a conversation with some people in the scene. And these are going to be the result of it. Things may continue to change and grow, and the format might move around as I continue to do these. But for now, we hit record, we have a conversation. There's going to be some Rocket League talk, of course, but things are going to digress quite a bit. And if that sounds like something that's interesting to you, then you're in the right place. Stick around. If not, appreciate you watching this far. But if you do watch through, thank you for clicking. Thank you for watching. And I hope you enjoy whatever it is we're doing here. Super busy player, Comm. Robert Kyser. Is it weird to hear your name? I'd like to say it that way. Are you used to hearing Comm?
It's a little weird, yeah, for sure.
Then I won't do it anymore. All right. We'll just Comm from here on. Most people watching this are probably going to know you by that anyways. But yeah, thanks for taking time on your schedule. I mean, you probably just got off some scrims. You probably just wanted to just be done with everything for the day, but you're joining me in chat. So I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, for sure. No problem. I've been looking forward to this.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm going to put you on the spot here to see if you're just saying that for saying it. Why were you looking forward to this?
Because I love hanging out with my best friend Liefx.
That's the right answer.
For a long time. Yeah, I was looking forward to this. Getting to just chill and chat.
You know what? This is the only video I'm putting up on the channel now. I'm scrapping all the other interviews. This is the best. Yeah, I want to just check because the whole point of the series right now is like I really want to just get down to we're people, you know, and sometimes when I ask you guys questions, I have to do it in an environment that's like it's for one purpose. It's PG, right. It's about Rocket League, and I try to dive into stuff there, get into your heads, but it's only so much. We can't digress. And sometimes you guys will say something that I'm like, I want to follow up on that thing they just talked about and ask them about, you know, what they just said, whether it's about pizza or a bicycle they just bought. You know, it's just, we don't get to see that kind of stuff. I don't think they'd like me doing that on the broadcast, probably.
No, probably not. Probably.
You don't want to talk about pizza the whole next time we're on?
I'm fine with it.
Okay.
It's up to, you know. It's not a decision you or I get to make.
It's a decision we get to make, but that decision also includes I don't get to keep my job.
Yeah, it has some ramifications for sure.
Well, let's not start on Rocket League because you know, we do enough that we'll get there eventually because I got some stuff I want to talk about and people watching this will want to hear about it. But when you know, I just talked about you're busy, you got your scrims in that. Outside of that, I want to get to know what the day is for a player like yourself. I mean, you're in school.
No,
you're not. See, I don't. This is why I'm doing this to get to know you better. So what are you doing through the day? Do you have hobbies that you're?
Yeah. So I live up here at the V1 Lake facility, up in Minnesota. So I have lived here for about a year and a half now, and as of right now, my current routine is we have a personal trainer with them. So I'll go work out with the personal trainer in the morning around 10:30, 11
That's
o'clock. Awesome. Yeah, it's me and Tor now. Now that Tor and Fire both moved up here. So we go work out with him, and I'll come back, take a shower, get dressed, walk over to HQ, and then play ranked until scrims. And then scrims are usually somewhere between 3 and 6, somewhere in that range usually. And then play ranked for a few more hours after scrims, and then come back and just hang out with my girlfriend at my apartment, and that's pretty much been the routine for at least a few weeks now.
It sounds like you like the game if you're just even outside of all the scrims, you're playing ranked.
More like I want to be good at the game.
Yeah. I mean, one could argue you are already good at the game, but I guess to stay at that level,
good, yeah.
And stuff.
If I had more say in the matter, I would definitely be playing less ranked in my free time.
Fair enough. It's burnout, right? Like it's you can still enjoy the thing, but if it's every day, all day, it's too much. You need something else. It's good that you have the like working out at least too, because that's something you get to that's completely separate and you get to work on that's yourself. I was talking with Adam Lawler, and he was talking about it's important to, even outside of monetary things, like, so even if it doesn't make you money, it's something that it's important to have those things for yourself that you can go to and get lost in.
Yeah, for sure. Going along with the whole working out, I also, over the past year and a half living up here, I got pretty big into cooking.
Oh, hell yeah.
So,
yeah, I've seen some of those clips of you doing that, cooking with Comm. Those are great.
Yeah, so yeah, obviously I do that on the V1 YouTube, but yeah, just in my free time, I'll cook some stuff up for dinner, for lunch, whatever. It's a cool hobby, and it's definitely like a useful skill to have.
Yeah. Oh, well, I think we just found our first topic to dive into, because
sounds good to me.
I grew up in working in restaurants when I was 14. So for about 11 years, I worked in restaurants. My dad had a few around the place, and so I would immediately put me to work. I couldn't obviously work in the kitchen at the beginning, but eventually I start picking up skills. And with my ADHD, it's so hard for me to actually just start cooking. But once I start cooking, there's something about like I guess planning, trying to get everything to finish at the same time.
Yeah, for
right?
sure. Yeah, there's a bunch of like cool qualities for it. So there's like that kind of like logistical side of it, where you have to get the right quantity of ingredients. You have to figure out how to, if you're making, like you said, a bunch of things, you have to figure out how to, time it all. You're figuring out how to use the whole cook space. You're figuring out, you have something in the oven, you have something in the stove, and then you got to figure out how to time it all and get it all to come together the right time and right place. It's a cool thing.
What's your favorite thing right now that you've cooked? Like, what's the thing you were the most proud of?
So I am pretty big into different like pastas. So I've made a bunch of different pastas. One of my go-to favorites. So generally, a lot of the recipes that I find are just off of like various food YouTubers that I'll watch in my free time, or if I'll just be like playing ranked, I'll just have like some YouTube up on my other monitor. A lot of the time, it'll be those food guys. So there's one that I made actually just before the last regional. I invited Fire, Chrissy, and Tor over and made this like spicy red bell pepper sauce, to where I sauteed up some red bell peppers, garlic, onions, Calabrian chilies, and then threw some cream in there, some tomato paste with it all, and then blended it. And then lastly, I fried up some sausage, poured the sauce back into the sausage, put the pasta in the sauce, and finished that all up. And made some garlic bread on the side, and that turned out really good. That's one of my favorite recipes for sure.
That does sound good. So it was more of like a rosé sauce.
Yeah, but it's got like a red bell pepper flavor.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, I'm coming over sometime, because like I think one of the greatest things about cooking too is so what we've been doing here is me and my girlfriend is we've been meal prepping a lot, and just making meals with basically cooking leftovers. I mean, like you're pre-making leftovers, but it's great because especially if you're gaming or you're in the zone, you want to do something, you're like, oh, I don't have time to go cook a whole meal or like a whole hour every day. It's like, boom, grab it out, throw it in the microwave, and it's good to go. But one of the greatest things is either cooking with other people, although that can be hectic. Kitchens can get crazy. Or cooking for people. Like there's something enjoyable about seeing someone else enjoying something you've created, right?
Yeah, I agree. So my dad works in a restaurant. Been in the restaurant business for 20, 25 years, something like that. So as of right now, he's a manager at a Mexican restaurant down in Florida. But last time I went down to visit for the holidays, we ended up cooking together, and that was definitely it was a cool experience, getting to bond with my dad and do stuff like that. And we're tasting it and trying it and trying to make, like the best thing that we can. It's just it's a cool experience. And then as you mentioned, like cooking for people, it's just nice, like seeing people's like faces light up whenever you give them something, they're like, oh, that's really good. Just like it's something that everybody enjoys, everybody has to eat.
So was cooking with your dad more of a wholesome moment, or was there a lot of yelling?
Oh, definitely wholesome, for sure.
Okay.
No, we were we think very, very alike. I was always called they call me mini me growing up, because I was just like a smaller version of my dad. So him and I've been told that I look like him a lot.
Oh, nice.
So I'm not sure if you've seen my dad or if you've ran into him at some event, but
well, again, the only recent events that I got to see everybody was this last one. So some faces are a bit of a blur. Obviously, I've seen some online too, but yeah, a lot of faces honestly are a bit of a blur to me right now. It was my first event back, so that was was a bit hectic trying to shake off a lot of the rust.
Yeah, but when it comes to food, me and him are like we're
awesome.
on the same wavelength.
That's really good. Yeah, I just working in kitchens. You see what how quickly they could devolve during a busy time. But no, that's really cool. You learn a lot from them. I assume if he's been in restaurants for so long.
To an extent, I've picked up on a few things, but also no. I can make some recipes better than him, maybe, but when it comes to just like there's something different between cooking and knowing how to cook and making recipes. It's not the same. Being able to just like see, okay, I have this in the fridge, I'm gonna throw this together and make something like that. That's definitely the skill I think you get a lot more like over time.
Yes, I think I was actually gonna bring that up because I made my first. It was simple. It wasn't anything crazy, but I made my first recipe the other day. It was a soup. It was a curry chicken soup. And relatively simple for what it was, but I put it together, and of course I'm biased when I make it, but I tasted it, I'm like, holy crap, this is good. But it was all just stuff I had in the house. I'm like, what can I make? Can I now, after copying other people's recipes for so long, start to understand what flavors will work with each other and what does what to the palate, and then see what comes out. And I was super happy. And other people said they liked it too. They could have been saying that, but it's a big moment when you're able to do that. Have you ever put together a recipe that like was your own that wasn't bad, or are you still just trying to throw things together and see what happens?
A little bit. A lot of the time, it's like, I just throw some stuff I have in the fridge together, and it's like nothing particular springs to my mind. But I think that's definitely one of the coolest things about cooking is it's like it's a creative outlet. Like I can, sit down, I get a chance to use my brain. I get to think, I get to try to conjure something up and think, oh, maybe this works with that. Maybe this works with that. And I think that's a cool thing. And then I think another thing is like going along with that. I like learning from recipes, like different techniques and different things that you can do that you can then add, or you can learn as processes that you can use when you're cooking, like anything that you want to. I think the science kind of aspect behind it, like knowing the hows and whys about why certain things cook the certain way they do and why things work like that. I think that's a very fascinating thing.
Yeah, no, I mean, just being able there's some things that like every recipe is based off of, say this one ingredient or this mixture of ingredients, and then understanding why and then now being able, okay, well, what if I start at this base and go from there? Can I make something of my own? So you're right. But it is something that comes with time. You just got to keep doing it over time. Do you think it's important for other players to maybe have some things on their own too outside of playing? Because I mean, we hear, teams like Gen G that seem to have found a good balance, but they do grind a lot. But Jack talks a lot about having, he'll step outside or step away from and do his own thing, go on an adventure or something. And it seems like that helps a lot. I mean, just seeing how you play, seeing how they play, it seems like the answer should be yes. That players should do that?
For sure. I think your own mental health is huge when it comes to gaming. I think if you feel well, you're going to play well. The better you feel, I mean, your physical health, your mental health, I think the more confident you are, the better you feel, the better you're going to play. So that was something that V1 stresses. We have a sports psychologist that we speak to. We have a personal trainer, like I touched on earlier. So all these things are to help us feel better individually, and it definitely like transfers to when playing.
Do you find just in general you've had just a more solid foundation of mentality, or is it still, or maybe you were never someone that dipped into really like bad moments before, but if you were, do you find it's still sometimes you can fall into bad moments, but it's easier to get out of? Like, has the foundation raised at all, or is it just the highs are better highs kind of thing?
Yeah, I think it's definitely more about raising the foundation. Everybody's going to have bad moments. Everybody's going to have bad days. You're going to get upset at yourself. You're going to get upset at your teammates. You're going to get, upset at the game. You're going to have slumps. You're going to fall down. But I think having something you can fall back on, something you can do in your free time, a way to relax, a way to have confidence in yourself, I think is big to get out of those slumps.
Can you recognize like when a slump's coming and like preemptively?
Yeah, I'm in one right now.
Oh, really? Yeah.
No, I felt off for a bit now, but it's, slumps is just like, you got to play through it. So I'm just trying to enjoy my life outside of it. And then when I get in the game, I'm just there grinding it out. I'm playing ranked twos, even if I don't want to. If I'm, struggling with my teammates, myself, it's something that you just have to push through. Especially if you want to be a pro and you want to hang around for a while, it's just inevitable.
Yeah, well, obviously it's I warned you I was going to talk about it, but we may as well talk about it now. Is like, since we're on this topic, is obviously a big contention point was what happened recently with the whole roster debate scenario that went on. Obviously, that is it can be hard. It still sounds like you're going to the gym with Tor or whatever, right? So it's still like there obviously is still some sort of good behind all this, but like getting hit with that can be hard. Like what's the initial emotion you go through when this happens?
Yeah, so for me personally, everything that happened, I think I'm very capable of putting aside my emotions, putting aside, my relationships with my teammates, and just, it's business.
Yeah,
that's good. Happen. People are looking out for their own best interests, and whatever they think is best for them, you can't really judge them for making those decisions. So that being said, when I first got kicked, it was like a gut punch. It's like, I love this team. I love my teammates. I've enjoyed competing alongside them. It was definitely something I really, really appreciated. I enjoyed all my time with them, and it hurt for that to be taken away. But at the same time, I recognize that, I can't get upset. I got kicked. I'm probably gonna get kicked again at some point in my career. Better to get used to it.
Hey, that's I guess the right way to go about it, because like if you don't want to, but I mean it's the inevitability of going through life, and you're still really young in terms of life, especially with our healthcare. We're probably going to live to like 200 years old. So like you got a lot ahead of you, that like there's going to be moments that I guarantee you there's going to be moments that are going to be worse. Well, I hope not, but probably moments that are even worse than this
probably
in the future, right? I think these things start to prepare us for, but it's so hard in the moment to like think of that, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's when you contextualize it, it's a lot easier to, just say like, oh, it's not really that big of a deal. But
when you're upset, you can't contextualize it.
Yeah, for sure. My biggest thing was, I just wanted to keep moving forward. Like I said, I'm probably going to get kicked again at some point in my career. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow. Maybe it'll be a few years from now. But at some point, it's going to happen. That's kind of how I look at whenever we go to tournaments. If we lose, it's like, I'm going to lose again. There's no point in crying about it. I'm going to lose many more matches. I'm going to lose many more tournaments. I'm going to get knocked out early. I'm going to be doing poorly at some point in my career. It's just an inevitability. I think it's important to recognize that rough patches are going to happen to everyone. You're going to have bad times, and it's just about figuring out how to get through it.
Yeah, no, the fact you're already on that mentality is good. But again, it's going to be a lot before you. It's all about raising that foundation of mentality, right? And you're hopefully skill floor for emotions is not as high as it's going to get, right? And you'll continue to build that mentality. Do you go to, like, it sounds like you're close with your family. Do you confide in family with a lot of this stuff? Or is it something that you try to deal with yourself or with friends, or does family help you with that kind of stuff?
No, it's definitely something that I've taken on like more on my own. Yeah. When I got kicked, that was when I was down there, and I was like with my family down in Florida. So that kind of sucked. I pretty much told them. They were asking me to keep them updated because they want to know, what's going on in my career and everything. My girlfriend was there to support me, which I appreciated. But at the same time, it's largely something I think I have to take on my own. It's my own mental. At the end of the day, nobody can be a pro for me. If I'm going to be a pro, I've got to learn how to mentally be there. I've got to learn how to be there on the pitch. I have to, have the skills. So I kind of have to take that on my own, I think.
I'm also, this is going to be because I'm a grandpa in esports now. A bit of my dad's coming. I was saying, like, I think I think there's also a skill to be learned about knowing when the limit is there, though, right? And knowing when to rely on people. I think it's honestly really, it's really good that you're doing everything you can to push yourself to your limits, even in that regard of saying, I can deal with that. But like, I at least for me, I find, and maybe you'll disagree with this because everyone's different, but I find for me, I definitely found it nice to know when, or try to find when I should stop dealing with it myself and to start, maybe vent one little thing here to, my significant other or my dad or whatever. And I found that that's okay because the people around you want to help, right?
Yeah, for sure. They're definitely, there to support you. And I know they appreciate hearing those things, appreciating you, letting off some steam and everything. So yeah, I understand. I 100% get that. You can't, at the same time, you want to.
I'm not telling you what to do, by the way. You can tell me to screw off.
No, I 100% get it. Like, you want to try to take on as much as you can. That's how you build on yourself and you learn and you make yourself better. But there's no shame in getting help from other people.
Now, just outside of, but we talked about, like, having those things for yourself, and you're talking about, I'm gonna get kicked again. Do you? Obviously, we don't want to think about worst case. I mean, but we have to, esports in itself is a thing that isn't going to be forever for everyone. Sometimes a pro career more than anything. You want it to be as long as possible, but outside that, do you have other things that you've looked at? Have you ever looked past esports? I'm hoping right now that your esports career is going to be 20 years long, right? But have you ever looked past that for other things, other work, education, like secondary? Is there anything that's you thought about?
Yeah, for sure. So, firstly, even if I'm not a top pro for a while, I'll be able to, be on like a secondary team or some kind of, strong team to where I'll at least be able to earn a living, and maybe I'll look for something that'll happen when eventually I'm not able to do that.
Yeah.
So outside of that, though, I wouldn't mind branching out into content creation, or who knows, being like an analyst, looking into things like that.
It's coming from my job.
No, I want to work with you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that.
Something like that. But then outside of Rocket League, I've also, I know I always have my education to fall back on. I didn't go to college. However, I did maintain pretty much a 4.0 GPA throughout high school.
Awesome, dude.
And I got a 36 on my ACT. So I have that to fall back on. I don't know. Do you know what that means?
I was about to ask you when you were done your sentence what the heck that is. I don't know what that is.
So the ACT, there's two standardized tests in the US. There's the SAT and the ACT.
I've heard of SATs.
So the ACT is something that they generally tend to do more in the South, which is where I lived.
Okay.
And a 36 is a perfect score on it. So I got basically the equivalent of like a perfect score that you like on an SAT or an ACT.
Look at a super genius here. No, that's a good foundation to have.
So I know I kind of always have that to fall back on. I had solid education. I did well there. My parents always stress, like, they don't care what I'm doing in my free time as long as my grades stay high, as long as I'm doing the best that I can with my education. So they let me play Rocket League for hours on end every single day, so long as I maintained that, and that came first. So made sure I did that, and I always have that to fall back on if I ever need to.
Well, I want to. It's because I want to. It reminded me of something. I think it was jokes, but there was some tweets of bubble players saying like, "Oh, I'm dropping out of high school to just focus on this," and I think for the most part we can all say that's obviously a terrible idea to do. And I'm assuming you're going to agree. You have success here, but look, you maintained good grades through all of your success right now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, not if you're a bubble player. Maybe there's an argument to be made if you're making a stupid amount of money on like a top team, something like that. And maybe there's a case to be made. You can always go back, redo your education and figure that out. But I mean, it's high school. You can finish high school while competing. It's really not that difficult. So yeah, no, not if you're a bubble player. Don't bank everything on that.
Yeah. If you come to me, so I still think education is important, but if you come to me and your name is Faker and you show me the salary you're making, I'll be like, all right, you can have this week off of school, because ultimately life is just about doing the things that we really enjoy. But education is important so that we, as a collective, don't make stupid decisions, which we've seen the world making a lot of recently. So it's in every aspect. So I think it's important that we stay just overall as a general populace educated, but and not stop being educated for video games as much as I love them. But on that is like, would you want to stay in esports, or like would you try to fall back on education and go somewhere else? Like, would you try to content create? Would you try to get a position behind the scenes, say after everything's all done and said for pro play? Like, well, would you just want to get away from it if you're not able to play as a pro?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a tricky question. I really haven't put all that much thought to it. It's kind of like, I know that I have options, and it's like I don't really have to pick yet. The day's not here yet where I have to pick. So one day that'll come and I will have to decide. But I don't really see the point in stressing over it now, so long as I know my options and I know that I'm gonna have to make a choice at some point.
Fair. Yeah, I just was curious if it was something that that you've gotten a taste of it and you're like, I know I don't have to think about it, but I do know that it's kind of not interesting to me to do, or if it is something that's still on the table for you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'd want to throw away my
that's true. Don't throw
what
away.
I've built in the past few years playing Rocket League. I mean, I've gotten a skill. I've put a lot of time into it. I think there's definitely some point in trying to stick with it for sure.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. Before I move on to some more Rocket League specific stuff too, just back to I guess for other players out there, when it comes to just in general mentality, you said again, working out, we see this a lot with pro players recently. Do you feel like this is something like orgs should be helping to support? Because as a player, I got to tell you right now, as someone with ADHD, it's super difficult for me to go and just like work out. Right. But it's so important to mentality. Do you think this is something more orgs should be, or should have the obligation to step onto to helping out, whether it's sport psychologists or trainers for working out?
100%. I think it's just like, even in other esports where you have, say like Overwatch, you have 5-man teams now. I think if you're able to, get 5 guys to go to the gym or able to work out together, you're going to make them happier because they're going to have people to socialize with, which is pretty important for gamers that don't really socialize very much. And you're also going to help them bond together. I think for me, I enjoy working out, going with Tor, even though it's just the two of us. I think it's very fun. Him and I get to go work out. Our trainer's name is Trevor. He's a cool guy.
Our Trevor.
But yeah, no, I look forward to that every day. I think it's just so nice mentally. I think it's something that other orgs should definitely look at, and something that I very much appreciate from version 1.
Yeah, no, I'm prompting you these questions because I agree with them, and I'm feeling that you will too. So,
yeah, for sure.
I'm like, yeah, let's do that. I guess on the side of Rocket League, as we dive a bit into that right now, for all the Rocket League nerds probably watching this, come on, get a life. Go get other hobbies. Have you not heard us, guys? Stop talking about Rocket League. This just the state of I guess what you have to do to be a pro player. You talked about that grind where it's like, hey, if I didn't have to do this, my option would be to not to do this. And I agree. It's the whole reason I stopped making Rocket League content in general. I just like talking to people, so this is fine. But like, I stopped making Rocket League content because it's too much outside of it. Do you feel like it's getting insane how much it takes to keep up, or do you feel like that's something more maybe for you and there's other people that don't put in as much time but still somehow maintain a top level, or is it just too much now?
Yeah, it's interesting because I honestly don't know how much grinding rank 2s every day really does for you as a player. I don't know how much it's helping me personally. I'm still doing it.
Well, I'm telling you, it doesn't help me at all.
Yeah. But as a pro, I really don't know how much that helps you outside of scrims. I think just going into scrims and free play, there's a chance that not playing 2s is just fine. There are players that rarely touch 2s that are fine at the game. They're still good pros. So for me personally, the reason why ranked is so difficult is just like there's hardly any pros that queue it for one. A lot of the time my lobbies, I'd say maybe a third of them are like all pros, and outside of that, a lot of them are like bubble players or players that are outside of the bubble that really not as fun to play against. I don't think it's as good a practice. And then it's a lot harder to enjoy ranked when you have scrims and competition to look forward to. Like you play in that and it's such a rush. It's so much fun. You get to compete. You get to actually play for something, and then suddenly you're going and playing for 6 hours straight for some MMR.
What because like you're mentioning 2s a lot. Like what's it about 2s that's like better than is just like less random teammates you have to deal with?
So as opposed to threes, are you saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Threes. Yeah, like I said, not every pro queue is ranked twos. Literally no pros queue. It's ranked threes. It's just it's a wasteland.
It's no
It's a
good.
wasteland out there. It's no pros play it. So at best, you're getting like CRL players a lot of the time, and then getting just people that I've never heard of that aren't very good, to be frank. Like they just simply aren't very good, and it's not good practice to have to play around people that aren't.
Yeah.
So ranked threes, yeah, it's dead, and then ones is mind numbing as well. It's just yeah. Once again, not too many pros queue it, and at the same time, a lot of ones just I doesn't really transfer that well. I can see playing like a little bit of it here and then. Like I did that. I grinded up to like top 20 or something a season. I've hardly touched it, but it's just I really don't think it benefits you that much past a certain point.
I was gonna say we're gonna have to get you and Johnny on at the same time, and I'll say ones go, and see see where that.
Well, there is benefit to it. You can become good. There's certain things, but at some point, it's like you gotta play threes to be good at threes.
Yeah,
they can give you a foundation, but past that, it's like once you get that foundation, why are you still playing it?
Yeah, fair. I mean, I can't answer that question because I haven't hit that foundation. But yeah, it's interesting then because it feels like the only enjoyable time playing is going to be like scrims, and that's granted everyone is taking it seriously as well.
Sometimes, a lot of the time, some teams don't take it seriously, and then sometimes you're just getting absolutely thrashed, and that's not fun either. But at least you have to work through it. You have to figure it out.
Yeah, because
really every pro we all like competing. Competing is the most fun part of the game, whether it be online or especially like making it to a LAN, going out there on stage. I mean, it's a feeling that doesn't compare to any other time you play.
Yeah, I mean, I've never. Oh, there was the one time I guess the recipient when Stumpy and Cole got section 104 and 10 in season 5 to chant my name, but I've never really been the full recipient of a lot of that. So it's something that I imagine is even more exhilarating. But I've been at the center hearing them cheering for you guys, and that or booing, whatever it is. But the noise that comes that way is it's something else. It's like a concert. I call concerts like their own drug. It's something that brings out an emotion or something primitive in the body. And I feel like gets experienced probably by you as well when you're on the stage and you hear that roar.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely that. And then it's just like performing it's like, knowing that there's this many people that came here to watch like us play, to like watch me play this video game. Yeah. Like that's just like a really cool feeling. It's something that, it's not that common to experience. It's like I've spent thousands of hours of my life like playing this video game, and I get to go out here and like see all of these people that all came to watch me, and I step away, I go into the crowd for like I take a step, and it's like everybody around me is like, oh, it's Comm, can I get a high five, fist bump, the picture. It's just a very cool feeling. It's very humbling.
Well, I'm gonna say something else here. How far do we want to digress with this? But I was gonna say you can start to see how power can get to people's heads, and they can take it the wrong way, though, right?
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
This is how you get terrible leaders in the world.
Yeah.
Sure. How far do you want to digress here? Let's talk about human nature and how power corrupts.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah.
Sounds riveting.
But no, it's interesting because it's such an amazing feeling to feel appreciated like that. But then to keep yourself in check, you always have to bring yourself back down and say, okay, this is awesome. I'm pretty awesome, but I got to focus back in now and make sure I don't, let that get to me or get in my head.
Yeah, you let that get to you, then all of a sudden you're not going to be out there playing anymore.
Teammates would be like, who's this guy over here? Oh, get him out of here. But yeah, on the stage, I want to ask you now, specifically Rotterdam. We had probably the most unique experience that we've ever had in Rocket League esports, thanks to K-Corp. That was something new when we've never seen that really with two sides going at each other over two teams. Do you feel it's good for the esport to have those very divisive back and forth or crowd, like people that are there just specifically for one team? Before that, it felt like, everyone would kind of cheer for everyone. They still have their favorite teams and home, whether you're EU, NA. But do you feel like that's a good direction for things to head to have those rivalries?
I think it's definitely inevitable. I think people are going to be fans of whatever team they want to be, and they're usually going to stick to it. And a lot of the time, it's just going to be whatever team's best. And I think there's a case to be made that it's not beneficial to esports. Like having half the crowd leave after their favorite team gets knocked out.
Yeah.
But to play devil's advocate, I mean, I think there is potential for it to be beneficial when you have a whole bunch of clashing, a whole bunch of diversification among fans that are all dedicated to different things, and that spawns more conversations, that spawns more rivalries, that spawns more things that get more attention, get people more invested. Investment is the most important thing, I think. That you want to generate in viewers, you want them to actually care about the match that they're watching. And I think if you get people invested, they're going to be fans for a longer time. And I think that's pretty important for the growth of esports.
Do you feel like the format would if say we got to that point where after every match or team that gets eliminated, we're losing chunks of an audience? Do you feel at that point a format would have to change? Like with sports, that's not a problem. You'll see people leave before a game, like in hockey, we'll see it. If it's it's 5-0 and there's 3 minutes left, people are going to try to beat the traffic to leave. Right.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's going to happen at some point during a game, but not an hour into a broadcast. Do you feel like the way we approach how and when games are played would have to change? Or because obviously you don't want half the crowd being gone by the grand finals, right?
No, of course not. I don't think so.
It's tough. I don't have a solution.
If it happens, it's inevitable. But at the same time, I don't think it's that big an issue. I think you're going to get to a point, maybe you'll have it at an event where that'll happen, but then those people aren't going to keep paying to come out and stay there for an hour.
Every time, yeah.
At some point, people are going to have to become fans more of the game if their team's not doing well.
Yeah.
And I think at some point, people are, they're going to be like, I paid for 3 days of tickets. I'm going to stay here for 3 days, even if my favorite team's out on day one. So I think that's a non-issue.
Yeah, that makes sense. I didn't have any way I was on that, but it's I also feel too if they didn't bulk buy out all those tickets that we would have had other fans probably would stay through the whole thing, fill up those stages.
Yeah, probably. I think so.
Yeah, So I'm with you. I feel like esports is so much different than traditional sport. Do you watch a lot of traditional sports?
Not really. I loosely follow some
Okay.
Traditional sports, but really, I don't watch.
You have like a local team that you like go check out a game every once in a while?
No. I think I've gone to a few like soccer games, like Minnesota United games here because V1 was able to get us tickets.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, that's like it.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I've been to some hockey. I played hockey my whole life, but it was just like it, and it was fun to go to games. It really was. But it's once esports took over, it felt like there's so much diversity in what I can watch, whether it is Rocket League, whether it's a shooter, whether it's League of Legends, like an RTS. There's so much diversity. You don't really need to do that. So I feel like just the general idea around esports is a bit different. This isn't really a question. I'm making a statement. If you have anything to add to it, of like the idea is that most people are just there for the game itself, and they'll have a bias towards a team.
I completely agree. Yeah, I mean, I'm the same way. If I watch CS, it's like I want to watch good CS. I'm not really rooting for a team, but like I'm watching a match. I'm like, yeah, maybe I prefer if this team won. That'd be kind of cool. But then at the same time, I'm just watching for the sake of watching the game.
Yeah,
people just it's human nature to like to watch people things where they're the best at what they're doing.
Yeah. No, but do you feel like that again? Because tribalism is inherent in us, right? Like we're always and it can be something dangerous. It could be something that's harmless and good. Like again, cheering for a sports team, as long as you don't take it too far. And you know what bothers me so much is when you see like a sports team win and then there's riots.
Riots, yeah.
It makes no sense to me. Like what you just trash someone's car that they worked their whole life. Maybe that's the only thing that was allowing them to pay. I don't know.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it's totally stupid when people do things like that. And it's like, why are you rioting? It's totally unrelated. Was there a bad call or something like that? Is that why this guy's got his car trashed now?
Yeah, like no, it doesn't make sense. But so tribalism is like, it can be fun. When we're us against you right now. I mean, same with Rocket League. That's how comms will be. I mean, like, you guys will be like, these guys are trash right now, and that's you with your tribe, but you keep it there. So I wonder if that can help. Just in general, I wonder if that's something that can hold it back. Esports in general, that we don't have the inherent tribalism. Everyone's there for the game, because I wonder if everyone had a team that were so deathly passionate about that, we get more people watching them, people tuning in overall, buying more merch, whatever it is. I wonder if that would help drive, if we helped grow that tribalism.
Yeah, it could. Maybe with like some kind of, franchise league. It's Rocket League still, it's getting older, but it's still pretty young. I mean, especially compared to traditional sports, of course. To where in these traditional sports, you've had decades and decades of this league existing, and then different teams come up and go in different cities where people are going to gain fans for them there. Or, maybe there's in the state that team exists and people are sort of rooting for them. But Rocket League, I don't think it's not at a point to where it's existed to where people are no longer just watching for the game. Like, the game is still growing. The game is improving. So a lot of people are just watching for the game. They're watching to see that. They're watching to see people that are the best. I don't think that tribalism really exists in Rocket League, because we haven't reached like the ceiling as much as these other things that have existed. And of course, there's the lack of geographical nature online. I'm not rooting for a Minnesota-based team generally.
Yeah. Do you think that'd be better? Sports. Like if we had team names that were based off of cities? Because I've talked about this to people before.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that's something that's probably been looked at with, the COD League and Overwatch League. I mean, it's a thing that exists. I wouldn't be surprised if that helps garner more fans from those regions. Like
if you had a local League of Legends team that played, you could buy one Friday night. You're like, hey, I'm not doing anything. You go watch. I feel like there's a bit more drive, to be like, oh, I'm gonna go see this team with my city name on it, than just like the I don't know, the Penguins or whatever. Like
yeah. I think that could definitely serve to benefit the game, but at the same time, you also have to have a large enough crowd of people to where there's sufficient amount of people in these different areas to root for these teams. You have to have a large enough audience. Of course, everybody knows what the NBA is, so you're gonna have people, even if they just casually follow, they're gonna be like, oh, I'm from Miami, so I'm gonna root for the
cheer
Heat.
For them.
Even if they've never watched any basketball in their life, they're just gonna be aware of it. So there's definitely like a larger crowd to pull from there.
Okay, I want to just looking at the esport. I mean, you say it's young yourself. First off, do you have any idea of when it's gonna, like, is there a blow up point? Is there a point that you say, okay, by this year we have to have this done or this thing achieved? Like, what's your measurement of success for the esport?
Honestly, I have no idea.
Fair. I think everyone else is trying to figure it out too. That's esports in general.
Yeah, it's like, that's not my job as a pro,
Fair enough.
My job is to play the game, and as long as I'm getting paid, as long as the prize pool's not dropping yet, then I'm fine.
As long as I'm getting paid, that is success to me. Fair enough. I guess the analytical side of me and all the other casters, this is stuff that we definitely go over a lot. What is success? What is the definition of it? It's too much. Okay, I want to give you a magic wand right now. This magic wand will let you make an instantaneous change to the game, esport. I have no control over it, so I can't actually make this happen, but it's a magic wand. I'm curious to see what is Comm's change to the game, whether it's 4 players or 150 boost, or to the esport, whether it's a format, whether it's franchising? What does Comm's magic wand wave do to the game?
That is a good question. Like I said, this isn't something I thought
it's a
about
perfect
all
game.
that much. Yeah.
You can take your time. It's fine because there's probably a few things you could choose, right?
Yeah, I think so. What would I change?
Again, I think this is a good sign if you can't think of anything, because it means we got the perfect.
Not much I would change. Yeah,
it's
it's pretty good.
Good job, Alex. You don't have to have anything either.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's anything I can come up with. Is there anything that you have?
He's going to be racking up. I would like to see some other game. I would like to see, I think, as ones I mentioned, 150 boost. I can't comment on anything to do with format because Gibbs will murder me. It's all perfect. There's nothing.
Yeah, of course.
But it'd be fun, I think, to experiment. Would you be okay as a pro player having to add a 4th player to a roster if there was a 4v4, if they made the map work with it? Is that too much?
It'd be difficult. I mean, that's a huge change. I mean, we've been playing, 7 years. We've been playing with 3 people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot that would just fundamentally change about like the way the game is understood. But at the same time, I still think the best players in 3v3 would be the best players in 4v4. Everybody would just adapt. It would take some time, but I think it's something that would just happen over time. And I'm sure if they did, for whatever reason, decide to do that, I'm sure we would just be just fine. We would make the adjustment.
You don't think we'd lose like half the pros to like new players that somehow got it better, it clicked better?
No, I don't think so. The pros are the pros for a reason.
Fair enough. What is it? I was gonna say, what is it that makes the pro? Is it just the way you look at this game specifically? Do you think most pros in this game could jump to another game and, given enough time, be good at that as well? Is it actually nature that these players are better, or is it just something that they inherently understand about this game specifically?
Yeah, I think it's definitely more like the latter, to where people, if you're a pro at one game, you could probably, in another life, if you had started playing another game at the same age and put all that time in, you probably could have been a pro at that game too. I think, I can't speak for other people, but for me personally, I just like video games have always come like, so whatever game it is that I'm playing, whether it be like CS, like I was able to get really good at CS like really fast. Comparatively. So just video games in general is something that always like clicked with me. I don't know if that's the same for other pros, but assuming it is, I think a lot of pros is just like, given, like I said, if they go back, they're as young as they were when they started Rocket League and they start playing some other game, I think it's very likely that if they put as much time in, they enjoy it as much, that they would probably become a pro.
Okay. It's interesting because there's always the debate of nature versus nurture. And do you think there's just human beings that are just inherently going to be better? If, say, 10 people put in the same amount of time into 5 different games, that one player is always going to be better?
I think to an extent, yeah. I think in the argument of nature versus nurture, as it pertains to this, I think a lot of the time there is just like certain things that people are just better at learning. You're more adaptable. Your brain tends to be wired more in a certain way towards some people. Probably, I mean, there are people that can put thousands of hours into Rocket League and be like gold. It's it's something that doesn't inherently like click with them. And then there's people that have put thousands of hours in and are pro. I think there's some kind of inherent like ability for people that are pros where it's like they're simply more competitive. I think a lot of, to be a pro, you have to be competitive.
Well, of course, yeah.
Wanting to win, you're wanting to be the best. Not everybody wants to be the best, and that's not to say that that there's a certain benefit. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it at all. But some people just want to play a video game and chill out. Some people want to play a video game and be the absolute best at it, and they want to, strive towards perfection. And I think some people just tend to lean towards that more. Do you
find that makes it hard sometimes to play other games? Because I've found sometimes that it's very hard for me to play single player games because I just try to min-max everything, and like I'm not enjoying the art that was created.
Yeah, I 100% get that. I honestly, I rarely play single player games, just because I simply don't like have the time for it.
Of course, yeah.
And usually when I'm playing other games, I'm playing with my friends, and it's like, we'll play Overwatch from time to time or something like that. And a lot of like these competitive games, it's hard because like I want to be the best, regardless. Like no matter what it is that I'm playing, it's like I just hate losing. I want to win. I want to be the best. So it's like I'll just have like I'll be watching Overwatch videos on my other monitor while I'm playing Rocket League, so I can just like passively learn things, and then I get in and it's like I'm grinding and I'm trying to win and I'm trying to be the best at whatever it is that I'm playing.
Yeah.
So I think it can definitely be hard to sometimes just enjoy other games for them being games so much as just like trying to be the best at it.
Do you care, or do you find that sometimes that can burn you out by like always trying to be the best?
To an extent, I think honestly it might have the opposite effect where it's like it just makes me want to keep playing.
Oh, really? Okay.
So I get hooked on some games. Like for instance, I mean CS, I put 1,200 hours in or something like that. Over the span of probably a year and a half, maybe sounds right. Like while being a Rocket League pro, and then Civ 6 as well is another game that I put a lot of time in, which isn't even a competitive game. But I have 830 hours on Civ 6. Just in my playing on my own and with friends. Just like it's a fun game. It's like I'm learning how to like min-max things, I'm learning how to even then it's a single player game, or just playing with my friends against AIs and just trying to min-max absolutely everything.
That's it's something that and even more so on the like content creation side is like when I try to sit down for a single player game, I'm like, oh, I should be streaming this.
I'm the same way.
Yeah, you feel like you don't get a break.
I know, I'm playing a single player game and I'm like, what am I doing? I should be playing right now. Like I gotta be grinding. It's definitely, it can be hard to find like enjoyment in playing, especially single player games. Because like if I'm on my own and I've got nothing else to do, I should just be playing Rocket League.
It's such a hard dilemma to be doing the thing that you love, but then also have it be the thing that doesn't let you de-stress.
Yeah.
What a dilemma. But at the same time, I'd say ultimately there's probably no complaints from any of us. The fact that we even get to do this,
none at all
in the first place. What is okay? Well, just to kind of bring it full circle here, then obviously you have, and maybe the answer is this: cooking. You have your working out. What is for you the thing that if you're like, I need to reset. I need to be in my own world. I need to be away from people or whatever it is. Like or maybe it's be around people. What is your reset button? What do you do to press that button?
Yeah, I think it's a combination, probably a few things. Like I said, cooking for one. I think it's just like, it's a really nice creative outlet for me, like outside of Rocket League. Just being able to find a recipe, modify it, just maybe throw something together, and I get to actually use my brain instead of just burning out playing Rocket League, mindlessly hitting the ball around for thousands of hours. Gives me something to put my attention towards. And then just playing video games with my friends. Just sitting down one night and just grinding out Civ, like I said, or some other game, and just hanging out, chatting, socializing with friends. A lot of them are like my friends from back in high school and even back to middle school.
Okay.
That I've just known for like years and years. So it's just nice to get to sit down and de-stress with them every once in a while.
Well, I was going to ask you that on friends in terms of that, because just in today's day and age, especially through pandemic, it was a lot harder for anyone to see anyone in person. I think there's something about seeing someone's face first off. So a call is fine, but it's not the same as being next to that person. Do you find now out of high school and now that you have to grind so much, it's been harder for you? Because as I'm telling you, as you get older, it's harder and harder to see your friends as they get busier and busier. Do you find that's already happening? Yeah,
definitely. I rarely have seen any of them.
Yeah.
They actually came out to Worlds to watch us play.
Oh, that's awesome.
A couple of my friends.
That's sick.
They came out, so I got to see them for the first time in that was the first time I'd seen one of them in like 3 or 4 years, one of them in 5 years maybe, and one of them in like a year and a half. So I hadn't seen any of them for like a very long time. And yeah, so that's a cool experience. but it's also nice. I have my girlfriend here. You can see her set up in the back.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was gonna ask you about that. That's her setup then, eh?
Yeah, so she games over there. She's been playing Red Dead recently, Red Dead 2.
Nice.
So yeah, she's been grinding that, but it's nice to have her to hang out with and socialize with.
That's huge.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, it's definitely hard not seeing people face to face maybe sometimes, but I mean, I've been gaming my entire life, so I'm kind of used to it. At some point, it's like, even back when I went to school, some of my friends, we still gamed just like every night together.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no, there's something. There is something. That's good that you have someone like in physical there with you that you can have. Sometimes it's good to still step away, get your own space from each other, but and I think that the balance is important. And everyone's balance is different, but having that face to face is so crucial to not going insane, right? Yeah, that's
absolutely.
That's good to have. Now I had one more question, and I'm totally brain farting on it before I let you go, because I don't want to take too much of your time. I know you probably just want to get back to grinding.
Yeah, I can't wait.
I remember. I want to ask, in terms of content from you specifically, do you have any drive to do that? Because are we going to get a cooking channel? Can we get specifically just a YouTube channel, set up a camera, go through a recipe, experiment? Oh, there's so many options you could have.
There is.
Can we get that?
I haven't thought about that. It's hard because I feel like if I'm doing content, I have to do Rocket League. It's like, I already have a name built in it. I have a brand built in it. It just makes sense to go along with it.
Yeah, but you could
maybe someday.
I think people will love watching that kind of stuff.
Maybe someday, yeah.
Okay,
that could be something I experiment with. That or chess too. That's like the two like hobbies I've had outside of that. Yeah, so I got pretty good chess over the past few years.
I say, are you good? Because I was going to challenge it. We should play then, because I'm just getting back into it, and I'm probably way worse than you.
Yeah, I'm pretty good. I'm as of right now around 2060 on chess.com.
Okay, yeah, no, I just started. I played 5 games, and I'm at 650. So I'm well out. But I have a couple friends that are 2000 as well, so I'm trying to get better. Yeah. I think the best way to learn is unless they're way better, but to play people that are better than you, but then have them try to explain why.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's a great way to learn in anything.
Okay.
It's just learning from someone that's better than you.
If I can steal some time from you, can we play some games?
I'm
down. It's
down.
Gonna be boring for you, but I'm gonna learn a lot.
No, I'm done. I could throw the blindfold on if you want.
Yeah, oh my god, can you play a game blindfolded? If you know where the pieces are going?
So I haven't played with like an actual physical blindfold, but on chess.com you can like put a setting on where you can't see the pieces. And I have beaten a few of my friends playing blindfolded.
Okay, so all these content pieces. Look at it. Your secondary and third channels on YouTube are gonna. I got your ideas.
I did actually though just record what will be my first video for YouTube.
Oh, awesome! Hey, this is a perfect time to tell people then where that's going to be. I'm assuming just Comm RL or.
I think it's just Comm. And
you got that on YouTube?
Double check.
You didn't even know you're on YouTube.
Well, it's partially like managed through my agency, so.
Oh, gotcha. Okay,
I gotta figure out the exact link for it.
Okay, well, I mean, if you can't find it right now, whatever it's going to be, I'll have it linked up on the screen here, so that.
Yeah, for sure. It should only take me a second. I should be able to.
Okay, we'll cut out the silence.
Yep. Okay. Think this link should work. Unless it doesn't. But I think it should.
Let's see here. Okay. Okay, so your channel is okay. You could just probably search Comm, but it's I'll put it up there. If you get the best way to do it would be probably youtube.com/ at COMM5786 is your username. So
okay, I'll see if I can change that, but
it'll be in the description below either way, the links. Go check out this chess thing we're playing at some point. Maybe you could clickbait it. Rocket League Pro destroys, or maybe if I beat you, I could clickbait it. RLCS analyst destroys RLCS Pro. I won't say it's not Rocket League.
Yeah, that's true.
Either way, it's not going to happen. It's when it comes to nature, if that's the true thing of it, I'm probably destined to be worse than you at most things that we both end up doing.
Yeah.
Maybe cooking. Maybe I'll have that one. But
you probably have the edge.
For now, you'll probably pass me at some point.
Just need a few reps, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, well, we're gonna get some games in, but for right now, I just gotta say, this was awesome. You coming on here and sitting down, and I want to thank you so much for chatting with me this time.
Yeah, no problem, man. Anytime.
Adam Lawler said the same thing, and I said I'm gonna call you tomorrow. Then careful what you wish for. But yeah, either way, thank you. Go check out his stuff. This is Comm, and we hope to see your professional career in Rocket League carry on for a very long time, and then soon after your cooking career.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.